This conference will now be recorded.
But back over to Facebook, we have our first price target that came up from the huge amount of selling that we had at 160, and then the second most logically would have been this 161.36, 1.6 million sitting there, for it to act as a magnet and start bringing it towards there. So even though we're coming back towards the bottom of this consolidation, personally, because of the amount of selling we came in at 160, I do not think we're done on that move up. Overall, though, we have to see a big move underneath that 160. So we've hit our price target, but remember, our price target sometimes is going to get extended. And in this case, there's no chance in the world that it ends up holding 160 because of the amount of selling that we saw there. Twitter was one of my favorite trades, even though not a big one. It never really got the continuation. It was the best show of hand by far. And we talked about this in the morning meeting. We had beautiful sell prints that came in at 29. We needed a pull up, and then we needed a trigger back down. Here's our pull up. We came up to 29.25, and then we got our trigger down. So you're talking about a 75-cent trade with an extremely, extremely high probability. And ever since then, it's just been kind of stuck. And a lot of the stuff that we're seeing out there, we're getting some decent trends, but even the volume in most of the bigger things is kind of in most of the bigger things like Apple, Alibaba, our everyday stocks are. The volume's a little bit low in comparison to what we really would like it. But at the same time, I mean, we're talking about high probability trades. It was clockwork, just a very, very easy trade. And to be completely honest, it only would have took you about 15 minutes to get that 75 cents. Now, are you going to wait and get the entire amount? Well, in this case, you probably would have, because when we came down to 28.50, it printed there. We knew it was going to pull up. So at that point, we know the trade is going to be extended at some point. It's just a matter of fact that, we know it has to pull back up. So at that trade, I mean, you would have probably covered almost exactly at that 75 cents level. It really would have just mattered the amount, the entry that you got on this trigger that was coming back down. Let's take a look at a few other things. Now, NIO it's just interesting because I keep seeing as we came up to this 9 level, we got some really big buying and really nice volume spike that came back on that ask side. And I know for a fact there's tons of money at 12.50, 13, and 13.50. So even though we're still kind of sitting down here, and it's in a quant mode where I will not look at this probably once this afternoon unless something drastic happens, it still keeps showing that it has room to come back to that upside. So as an IPO, it's going to get a little bit crazy. It's got a really big range. That's okay. It's moved down $1.23 today in comparison to, I think this morning it was something like $4.75, something that big. So nothing to look at this afternoon, but certainly something that's going to be on my radar. TEVA, it's funny because it's a perfect example. I told you guys, I don't care about the selling. The selling when a stock comes back up or jumps up this much, it really doesn't have much of effect to me. I know people are going to take profit, people are going to take profit. Now, at the same time as well, if there's a gigantic amount of selling, then yeah, we have to take that into consideration. But as you remember from this morning, as we were coming up during the pre-market, we just never got new buying that came in at that 24.50 level. It was just a few sell prints. It was nothing that really showed us that the stock was going to be able to continue up. And look what's happened. It's just been on a continuous trend towards that downside because of the fact that it just was nothing there. I mean, without new buying, without new positions, if no one needs to make new money, the stock will not continue to go. Now, it is trading 67,000 shares. It does have a pretty decent trend down. It's a little bit skewed because of the giant 400,000 share print that just came back. And I don't see much more room, to be completely honest with you. It's just, we do have that gap that's sitting there. So, you know what? I'll put this on our side list. I don't expect much of it. I really haven't watched it most of today because of the fact that it's just there was such better things out there. It does have a little bit of room based off of the daily chart that we have there, but like I said, I don't see the way that it's trading and the inconsistency in volume. I don't see us being able to do too much coming into the afternoon. AMD, I'm sure everyone wants to talk about this a little bit. So if you haven't yet watched pull-ups and pull-downs, please watch it, because a lot of the questions should just be answered by screenshots and what's put into the actual chat. Okay, AMD has monster buying at 33. As an overall stock, I'm going to make this very clear, and this is not financial, advice, but as an overall stock, I am very, 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 very bullish, but has to come down. the amount of buying that we came in at 33, and the thing, it's not even the amount of buying, because remember, at the end of the day, a pullback could be technically anything. All a pullback is telling us is that the market maker is building a position. So technically, they could get done in 10 cents to build a position. Now, we base everything on percentages. So if the amount that they're buying, that tip of the iceberg, that's going to tell us pretty much to a certain extent how much it should pull back. But the big thing here was we had monster selling coming in at 32. So what that tells me is not only does it need to pull back from this 33 level, but now somebody has to make money on their position at 32. And we're not talking about 25 cents. We're not talking about coming down to the 31.71 print line. We're talking about this guy's got to make their money, at least $1 for the amount that came in. So we're still going to expect this thing to pull back a whole bunch. That does not change our overall price target. It tells us basically what we can expect this chart to look like. So right now, okay, we're looking at AMD. Okay, I wish I could draw. Can I draw? Let's see. Screen. I think there's a way, but I don't think I know how to do it. All right, I'm gonna have to figure this out at some other. Actually, hold on. Drawing tools open. I sure you want to use drawing tools. Yes. Okay. Can everyone see this line that I'm drawing right here? That for some reason doesn't stay. Can you guys see this drawing tool? It's not staying for some reason. All right, I'm going to figure that part out. But either way, what we want to, basically off the prints and the whole, and I say this all the time, the whole reason that this company is called ahead of the charts trading is because you want to know what the chart's going to look like before it happens. So this chart is beautiful, and I'm going to use a trend line, or can I get rid of this now? Yeah, here we go. I'm going to use a trend line just because it's going to be easier to do that. Okay, so this trend right here is absolutely beautiful. Okay, we're going up, everything looks great, blah, 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 blah. But what happens is, if we really look at what's going to end up happening, we have this 30 level here again. So this chart on the daily, we're going to end up seeing a bar down somewhere around here, around 31. I mean, 31 is a conservative spot to look at. So we should already know what this chart's going to look like. And then eventually, I mean, it's just going to, this trend, and I wish I could draw right now, but this trend is going to end up being just huge. We're going to end up seeing a really big pop, but we have to know what this chart's going to look like first before it actually happens. That's the whole point in trading, is to know what's going to happen before it happens. So the amount of buying we have at 33, the amount of selling that came in at 32, and the amount of selling isn't even close to the amount of buying at 33, but what that tells us is someone's going to ride this trend down first and make their money on that because they know it has to pull back. All right, so AMD down first, up big after. The big trade's the up, okay? The high percentage trade is the up, but we know that it still needs to come back down. So we're definitely keeping AMD on our list for this afternoon as well. All right, so CGC is one that I haven't really got a good chance to watch because the volume really wasn't there after about 10 o'clock. It just got really low. You had some decent volume come in, about 115,000 shares starting to push this thing back up, but I don't really know exactly the prints. We have one print here at 48, which tells us really not much. There's nothing to really go on from there. So anything else that comes out here, I'll definitely point it out. Today, it had a beautiful move towards that downside after, we got up to 50. We had a little bit of selling on the way back down, and it just continued all the way. But didn't give as good a show of hand as most of the things out there that we were looking at. And then we had NEPT on our side list, which just, it was on our side list because of the reason that more than likely it was going to work out, something to look at, and NBEV. Same type of deal, just immediately sold off as the market opened. See, the thing with this is these cheaper stocks, if they have variables but no prints, they go on the side list because it doesn't mean nothing's showing us it has to happen. It's just giving us enough variables to show that it's actually possible. All right, and then we come over to our scanners, which I don't really, I'm not too happy with. I don't really see much out there that I like. SNMX, obviously a buyout or something of that nature. AMSW, absolute garbage. MYND, same type of deal. OPK's got a beautiful trend. Well, it had a beautiful trend when I looked at it before, but it's just not a stock that I'm going to trade. There's just not enough there for, it's too quanty, just not doesn't fit into a smooth trading stock. And as you guys all know, that's what I want to see. I want to see a stock that trades smoothly, and that's really, it's not going to just jump out of nowhere. It's going to tell us what it has to do. FTR, another one, beautiful trend, but there's just no volume there for me to, even pay attention to it. And then we talked about MDEV and EPT. Moving over to the losers list, there's really not too much going on there either. Now, QTT, beautiful move towards that downside this morning. I didn't see it until a little bit late. I didn't even call it out because as I was watching it, there just weren't enough prints there. But it's only trading 20,000 shares, and unfortunately can't short it. Okay, so there's really nothing you would have been able to do with it anyway. When we saw it coming back down, believe me, I requested shares. There's nothing. It's been been a stock for 2 days now. So something we might want to put a little star next to start paying attention to, because I mean the overall movement is beautiful. There's just not really anything there that we would have been able to do anything with. Moving along, we have GOV, which was on the scanner this morning, but another one where it's just not a stock that I really am going to trade. Volume, it just isn't there, way too sporadic, no consistency within it, nothing there. And then that's pretty much it. TNDM, nice move to the downside, but just very sporadic volume. After this big volume burst, it just did absolutely nothing after that. And that's it. So more, just like the afternoons we've been seeing, most of our moves are going to be coming from our everyday stocks. We're just not getting a lot of newer stocks that are getting any type of runs or any that really show promise and variables that are going to, tell us that they're going to continue on or even be able to make any type of continued move. All right, anything else out there that I missed? Nothing. All right. I hate having to say that after Donna always answers me back, but you know what? It is what it is. So let's make sure we know the stories in a lot of different things, and that's the big thing. It's just if we know where the stock's got to go, we need to look for the variables that tell us what's going to happen today. Afternoons are not typically the best time to trade as of recent. We don't get a lot of that volume coming in. So keep that in mind when you're looking to take any type of entry, and we'll pretty much be going from there. Facebook, remember, Facebook under 160, that is one of my my main trades, especially on a longer term side of things. If you're looking for any type of overnight type plays, Facebook is not going to have a good time at 160. I just don't feel it's done yet. I haven't seen anything that shows us that. All right, guys, so I will be back for our closing bell meeting, and everyone, let's get ready for the afternoon, and happy trading.